Experimentation. Always, always, always. All right. So today I want to talk about how to think about how many experiments you can be running. And there is essentially a direct correlation between the number of experiments you should be running and the volume of inbound data points or leads or whatever it is that you are getting. Okay. And if you don't do this, then it is a very big lost opportunity. And I will give a special shout out to Garrett Marker, who is an advisor to us. And he basically taught me this because there was a particular situation that we were encountering. And his perspective was, hey, if you have this much volume, then actually this is the perfect time to just run a very large number of experiments. And I was like, of course that makes sense. All right, so what is the core framework here? The core framework is that depending on what the axis of experimentation is. So if you're a D2C business, let's just say the thing you want to experiment with is there's like basically a few things. So there's creative, and then there's website or the funnel, and then there's actual like merchandising or product, right? In principle. And so the website covers things like the offer and the funnel. So that's the offer and the funnel. Right. Okay. So generally speaking, and this is like intuitive to most people do a very large amount of creative testing, right? And the reason they do a very large amount of creative testing is because that's where they have the highest volume. So let's just say you go along this axis and like your total volume of impressions on your actual ads, I don't know, let's just call it like a million a day, right? A million a day. And so the total number of experiments or your total creative testing can be exceptionally large. Now, how many of those people tend to click the ad and then go to your website? Let's just say it's like 2%, right? Now, the kerfuffle here is that 2% of people clicking your ad takes you all the way over here, right? This is like 2% of where we are on this axis. And what happens is that this is an exponential decay. And so the total amount of testing you can do on your creative is super different than the total amount of testing that you can do on your website, unless you change something, right? And so that's why most people, when you look at the ratio of their creative testing to their landing page testing, it is actually usually a 2 order of magnitude difference. Like they will be able to run like 100 to 200, maybe 300 creatives a month, but they will run like 2 to 3 landing page tests a month, right? And so you can see this scaling happening where it is like a very big difference in how much testing you can do in different things. However, what you should be thinking about is how do I drive because if you can drive the volume to some sort of reasonable place, the gains that you get are not linear. They are again exponential in the amount of experimentation that you can do. And so for us, we happen to have this type of experience recently in a part of our funnel, so in a part of our acquisition funnel. And that's when this advisor basically gave me the advice, hey, if that's what's happening, then you should just be running a ton of experiments, because the probability that you are going to have this kind of volume again, like hopefully it happens again and hopefully it persists. But if it doesn't, then you should just think about, how do I run as many experiments as possible, learn as much as possible, as quickly as possible, in order to actually drive learnings for the business and then to use and benefit from those learnings, right? And so this is something that I would strongly encourage you to interact with, is just like, how do you create, at least even if briefly, moments of very high volume? And then when you create high volume, how do you take advantage of that volume by making sure you are using that volume to run a bunch of experiments? Because again, if you don't take advantage of it, it's very hard to then experiment and learn about your business. All right. I hope that was helpful. It's been very helpful for me, so I thought I would share it.